How's it going, guys? Brett Mix here, Mixer Madness for the Monday Night Wars. This is WCW Week 65 of the Wars, January 13th, 1997. The 70th episode of Nitro, the 65th time they've gone head-to-head with WWE. Nitro beats Raw for the 29th week in a row. The score was 3.4 to 2.3. So through 65 weeks, Nitro has 46 wins, WWF has 17, and 2 draws. This is the Nitro with a 3.4 rating. It begins with pyro all over the Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. Not going to do a Silverdome joke because that joke's played out. that joke got played out the night WrestleMania 30 happened. For the first hour of Nitro, it's the living legend Larry Zbyszko doing color commentary with Tony Schiavone doing play-by-play. Heenan and Tenay join in the second half, assuming Bischoff doesn't break it up with the NWO. The show begins with the Giant breaking down the NWO's dressing room by breaking the door in. Excellent as they have the commentary team explain that the Giant grabbed a cameraman to see that. It's those little details like that that make a difference. They actually said the Giant grabbed a cameraman to document him breaking into the NWO's room. Not the joke, it was just a cameraman right there waiting. They actually said the Giant grabbed the camera guy. So it's those little details that aren't so little. That make a big deal, that make something little into a bigger deal. It's the believability factor, so I'm glad they did that. So the Giant wants a piece of Hollywood Hogan, but Bischoff is saying that no match so far because there's no contract saying such. But the Giant is no longer than the NWO, and he wants Hollywood. All right, so they open up from the Superdome in New Orleans with Chavo Guerrero versus Mr. JL. A side headlock takeover by Chavo. Mr. JL with a leapfrog and a monkey flip. Then a drop kick. Chavo springboards the crossbody to Mr. JL onto the floor. JL gets back in the ring and hits a crossbody to Chavo. Back in the ring, Chavo's offense was quick, but JL came with a Hurricane Rana off the top rope. Chavo Jr. with a moonsault off the top and a win. Chavo wins at 4:17 after he comes back against Mr. JL. They both had high-risk maneuvers. He says, "Who's next?" before Goldberg even debuted. Chavo was saying, "Who's next?" Rated that match 2 stars and a quarter. They keep saying Hollywood Hogan is backing out of the match with the Giant. It's sold out, but it remains to be seen if he actually will. Jim Duggan comes out and takes on Super Callow, but Jim Duggan comes out waving a WCW flag that's purple and gold. He says also on the microphone to Mean Gene before he comes to the ring. Duggan says, "Sting, be a man. Wave the WCW's flag." You know what happens when everyone calls out Sting. Rick Steiner said that. He got a Scorpion Death Drop. Jeff Jarrett said that. Scorpion Death Drop. Now it's Duggan saying that. We'll see what happens. And just as I type this out, Scorpion Death Drop. Sting comes to the ring. Scorpion Death Drop. Zbyszko is on the commentary team saying Sting's in the NWO. He's joined the New World Order. He's black and white. He's the Crow now. So he's black and white. And he keeps attacking WCW wrestlers. But Schiavone's like, no. I see a pattern here. I see somebody who's, every time they call out Sting to be a man, they end up getting Scorpion Death Drop, which is the truth. So no rating with Jim Duggan and Super Callow as we had no match. Next up, Chris Jericho versus Sergeant Craig Pittman. Sergeant Craig Pittman and Jericho lock up. Jericho with a side headlock off the top. Bullfrog, a baseball slide after a leapfrog, and then a spinning heel kick by Jericho to Craig Pittman. He comes back with an Irish whip and then 2 more shoulder blocks. Jericho goes to the top rope for a missile drop kick, and that does it. Jericho wins at 1:07, defeating Craig Pittman. 3/4 of a star. Harlem Heat come out to face on High Voltage, and the commentary team talks about how High Voltage looks like a young Harlem Heat. Giant confronts the NWO backstage during this match, and Bischoff says you could have a title shot. You can't have a title shot. There's no contract. But Schiavone brings up a good point. He won World War III. That should in itself give him the chance to face the champion, because that's what the stipulation was. So they don't need a contract, but that's what Bischoff says. That's how they're going with the story anyway, to explain it. A butterfly suplex off the top from Stevie Ray. And then Booker T comes up and does a double team move, missile drop kick, and a scissors kick up high. Harlem Heat get the victory, get rated at a star and a quarter. NWO's music came out, and Bischoff took over commentary for the next match between DDP and Mark Starr. He's telling DDP to come over since they're neighbors, have hot dogs and an adult beverage. DDP dominates Mark Starr and then defeats him with a diamond cutter, really simple, in 54 seconds. Then the Outsiders come out with sweatshirts, NWO, and they come out with a shirt for DDP, and DDP hugs Nash shockingly and puts on an NWO shirt. And some of the crowd pop. But then DDP goes to shake Hall's hand. He keeps it, has hand interlocked, and hits a diamond cutter on Scott Hall. And then all the crowd pops. Iconic moment in Nitro's history. DDP, because the Outsiders have been trying to recruit DDP for the last few weeks, if not months. And DDP just gave Hall that diamond cutter, and then Nash charged towards DDP, and DDP held the top rope down, so Nash fell out to the floor. And Bischoff on commentary leaves commentary and says, I'm going to go deal with this. So the Schiavone comes back to commentate. Anyway, I give the match of Mark Starr a half a star because Mark Starr couldn't beat DDP. It was just a 54-second match. And I'm not rating the segment. If I rated the segment, I'd give it like 4 stars because that was just a great segment. I was just rating the match there. Next up, we had Dean Malenko versus Eddie Guerrero. Speaking of high stars, these guys just went to work. Arm drag by Eddie. I'm not doing play-by-play for this match, but arm drag by Eddie to Malenko. Side headlock into a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. NWO 6 came out and set up a ladder during the match, and Malenko's got so many surfboard variation submission on while Eddie Guerrero's in the hold. Eddie Guerrero sees that 6 is climbing the ladder and set up on a ladder. He goes to the top rope. Malenko comes back with a German suplex, and Malenko wins at 12:15. Great match. I rated it at 3 stars and a quarter. It was a really good match. It's not hard to believe with Malenko and Guerrero, but this one was really good. Conan versus Super Callow. Conan with a spinorama drop toe hold to Callow. Thunderous clothesline. Conan signals for the end. Callow hits Hurricane Rana. But then Conan Irish whips Callow and hits a powerbomb, and then a second one, and gets the victory at 2:59. Rated a star and a quarter. Kevin Sullivan cuts a dark promo on Benoit backstage. He has all these chess pieces, and then he knocks all of the pieces off. So I guess symbolism in that promo. Then Benoit takes on Jeff Jarrett. Benoit and Jarrett wrestling a good match until McMichael and Deborah on Deborah on the outside of the ring. Mongo gets a suitcase and accidentally hits Benoit with it as Benoit was on the side ropes, and Jarrett wins like that. But Benoit is mad at Mongo after, and the Horsemen, there's some dissension in the Horsemen. Scotty Riggs takes on Billy Kidman. Kidman is so young here. Scotty Riggs wins at 2:16, but then Buff Bagwell comes out and flexes and poses, his former tag partner, right? Half a star. Lex Luger takes on Rick Fuller. Luger's 3-minute victory over a big guy with a torture rack. This is the poster child for that. Luger just torture racks the guy at 2:57 and wins the match, half a star. And that's basically what happens with Luger every match. The Giant comes out and cuts a promo about not being able to take NWO shit anymore, pretty much. Rick Steiner takes on Arn Anderson. Arn comes out and wanted to deal with the Horsemen, but the Horsemen aren't dealing with him. Arn went to the back because the Horsemen weren't coming out to save him, so he got counted out. Rick Steiner won the match, rated at 3/4 of a star. In the main event, we got the Giant taking on Hollywood Hogan with Ted DiBiase in a non-title match. Hogan plays guitar on the title. Giant was in the ring waiting for Hogan, and then Hogan comes to the ring. Giant pretty much dominates him the entire match, and Hollywood Hogan is saying, no, don't. But he does, and they run out of time on Nitro. They run right out of time, but not before the NWO could attack him. Right before the Giant went for the choke slam on Hogan, the NWO came out and fans threw in litter because the NWO attacked the Giant, and the NWO pretty much cleared the ring. So that does it for the match portion of the show. The show ended with the Giant being beaten up by the NWO and then taking out each member of the NWO, except for Hogan, who was on the outside. He didn't come back in the ring. And the NWO walk up the stage while the Giant's in the ring mad. So good build for the Giant. I rated this show a 6 out of 10 because of the iconic moment with DDP and the Outsiders, him turning down their invitation, and the whole Giant Hogan stuff. The great Malenko Guerrero match, so 6 out of 10 seems right for this one. Join me on the next Nitro. They won 3.4 to 2.3 in the TV ratings too. So join me on the next Nitro. I'm Brett Mix, and I'm out.